Hello and welcome back to HCS Weekly, your weekly destination for all things HCS. I'm your host, Shyway. And guys, I'm back from HCS Atlanta. What a weekend. So much hype. Oh my God. I never slept. I barely slept between Thursday and Sunday. There was so much going on, so much action. Of course, the final Halo 5 event, and a pretty great one as well, except for the very disappointing grand finals. That was pretty one-sided, but also very hype Halo 3 event. So much going on in that event. I met a lot of awesome people. I met some awesome YouTubers as well. You guys might know who they are. They're a big part of this Halo community, on top of the fact that we have a new grassroots program and new partnership program initiatives. These guys seem like the perfect ones to talk to about this new initiative. I'd like to welcome Proximitty and Reclaimer to the stream. Welcome, guys. How's it going?
What's up, man?
So when did you guys get back in? Are you settled?
Yeah, we're settled. I actually don't live far from the event, so I just had to drive home. What a big deal. So
yeah, right. Are you in
settled?
Atlanta?
I live a little bit outside of Atlanta, yeah, so it wasn't bad for me. Thankfully, it was pretty convenient. Last Halo 5 event, real close to home, easy enough.
Yeah. What about you, Reclaimer?
So yeah, I'm exhausted because I live in Nashville in Tennessee, and they live a couple hours south of Atlanta. So I got up Monday morning, drove back with them in the wrong direction, and then packed up all my stuff and turned around and went back home. So. Oh
my God, what a pain, dude. You made it. You guys are back. Thank you so much for joining me here. Now, I'm not used to the whole three-way split thing, so we're going to do our best to make sure that everybody has their moment here, and I'm not stepping over you guys. But I have a bunch of questions for you. We're going to start from the very beginning. This is something I asked to everybody who comes on the show. I'd love to know, how did you guys get into Halo, and then how did you get into content creation on YouTube? So we'll start. Proximitty, feel free to go ahead.
How did I get into Halo? I was in elementary school when Halo 1 came out, or CE, and I mean, everybody was talking about it. Yeah, I didn't know what it was. I just know I kept hearing Halo, 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 and eventually, at some point, I was at one of my friend's house, and he had an Xbox and Halo, and we split screened it, and the rest is kind of history, man. I mean, it's unlike anything else. I mean, I was obviously completely terrible at it, but it was fun, and I was always interested in playing. I didn't get my own Xbox till like 2008 with Halo 3. But from then, it's been pretty nonstop. I've just loved the game, always have. And as far as getting into content creation, I've been trying to do YouTube for a long time, trying different things, seeing what would be the right fit. And eventually I, just got into just exclusively I made a Halo channel specifically, which is actually the current one that you would know me from. And that was the one that actually really worked. I had like gaming channels in the past, but it wasn't like exclusive to Halo, but I don't know, man. It's such a cool community, and that was just felt like it. I mean, obviously it's where I fit, so it worked out. Yeah.
Well, so you tried out a bunch of things, man. I'm glad you came down to Halo 5 though, because I think that's where everything really shined, and it's great to see you as a part of the community now. And I gotta say, man, some of the best moments, as far as my memories go with Halo, was being trash at the game. Like, being bad at the game was the best, because at the time you were young and it was new, and like the challenge was exciting, and everybody else, like your buddies, were probably pretty bad too. So like the whole competitive rivalry that you had was just always so great. I remember just like running around with rockets and swords and not caring about competitive settings.
Yeah, no, it's exactly what you said too, because it was always just like you versus your friends, and you just wanted to be better than them, and you had your own little group, but it was. Yeah, it's like I said, it's unlike any other game, man. Like it's Halo.
Definitely.
I don't know.
Completely agree. Reclaimer, what about you? How'd you get into it all?
My uncle is about 10 years older than me. So when I was probably 5 or 6, I was really, really young. He left for college and gave me his Xbox. And
Nice.
So that was 2006. So he gave me Halo 1 and 2. And I was a campaign kid forever. Just literally, I played over and over and over again. Just completely fell in love with it. And then eventually did the whole thing, got a 360, got Xbox Live, and spent a few years being bad before I really got into it. So, but I was in love with it from the second I first played it. So,
dude, the Halo 2 campaign, I remember playing that, like, legendary, just so much. It was the most painful experience in my life, but also just so damn amazing. So completely agree. I was a campaign kid too. Yeah. I remember I had to buy my Xbox off of a friend. I wanted it so badly. I got like a secondhand Xbox just to play Halo 2 campaign. But with the whole YouTube content creation thing, you guys, you've done some amazing things for the community, building your own communities for Halo. And then at some point along the way, you guys found each other and decided to create content together. You're living at you were living at the CX house and created content from there. So how did that happen? How did you guys meet each other, start creating content together? And then tell me a bit about the CX house and how that works.
How did
Clay,
that
you
happen?
want to start off? Or? Well, I remember, I know how we met for sure. I mean, all right. So we were both competing at the time, and this was just after the 2050 Esports Chattanooga event. I don't know if you remember that. It was something like a 5K, prize pool, which was, it wasn't a major land, but it was pretty sizable. And Clay living in Tennessee and me living, south of Atlanta, it wasn't far for either one of us. He actually didn't go. That's beside the point. But besides that, I was going because it was close, and I wanted to play, and I was, grinding Halo 5, making content, and I wanted to compete again. So went out there, didn't get the placement we really wanted to. One of my teammates at the time we became a team of 2 and just kind of tweeted that out, like you do. And Clay was a team of 2 with somebody else and kind of hit us up, and we ran games. And that was a little over 2 years ago, and we've just been great friends ever since. Like, I don't know, we kind of just all hit it off. Like, my teammate at the time, Corpsic, and myself and Clay all just got along really well. The last guy, not so much, but it was just kind of some friendship. So we've just remained friends since. Yeah.
What about you? Was it love at first sight, or did you hate him at first? Or same type
I hated the kid. No, it was from my perspective, I was a team of 2 with this guy, and we had been playing for a few months, and I was 16 at the time, and so I was trying to like find my point to like break into the scene. And so I was a team of 2 with him, and we were trying to go to this Chattanooga event because it's like an hour and a half from where I live. And unfortunately, by the time we got into it, most of the rosters were already made, and so we didn't actually end up finding a team in time. But that worked out great because after the event, Cole and his teammate became a team of 2, and so we I don't remember how it happened because I didn't handle any of it, I don't think. But one night, my duo at the time was like, all right, we're going to play with these 2 guys, Proximitty and Corpsic. And I had heard of them from YouTube, but I didn't know them. And we played. Yeah. And from that point, it was probably love at first sight.
I actually remember you showed up really late to our first scrim, and I was kind of like, I don't know about these kids, man. And then Clay got in the call and was like, yo, listen, sorry I'm late. I don't remember what he said, but he just kind of laid it all out, and I was like, I respect it. And then we were just cool. Like, I don't know.
Right. So then there's the CX house as well. Is that like a team house? How did that begin?
Yeah. So whenever Halo 5 came out, a lot of people kind of found a little bit of traction in creating content for Halo 5. I started creating content in MCC and got absolutely nowhere. And when Halo 5 came out, things just started to, there was interest. Initially when Halo 5 launched, I mean, it was pretty popular. People liked it, it ended up falling off. People lost interest. But yeah, I mean, it was, it had a good start. And as a result, a couple channels really started popping off. And I was part of that group of people who were, starting to get some traction on YouTube. And I kind of got together with some of them, made friends with them. And we just made this channel called Chaotix. That was the idea, to just create like a community for Halo, kind of like an Optic Gaming or something. Like we wanted something like that for Halo. And, that's a whole long story what happened. I mean, essentially it was a lot to take on and we kind of bit off more than we could chew. But CX now is just kind of like the Chaotix group is just like a family of people that are just really good friends. We don't have any current plans right now as to like trying to relaunch that sort of thing, but we just made that brand to kind of, if you're in Chaotix, you can assume that person is, a really cool guy that just loves making content, loves Halo. And I think that remains true. I think when people see Chaotix, they see that like that person's, I don't know, like they're welcoming and they're cool. And like, I'm really proud of that because I think we all made that group. But some of my friends from high school were in there and they live around here too, where I live. And Clay doesn't live far, so he just kind of comes through and crashes for a couple months and stuff like that. So that's kind of how that started. I know like the CX house is the loose term for like the house I live in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but overall, I think that's an awesome initiative. I mean, you see with other teams, and I think that that's great that you're doing it for the Halo community. We need a lot more of that, and just combining resources and creating the best possible content. Like that's amazing to see in the community as well. And of course, I understand like Halo's going through some stuff right now. It's a little harder to create content. That's what I'm going to end up asking you guys next. But when Halo Infinite rolls around, the CX house, like that could be popping off again. You know, like that's a whole
community. Yeah, who knows? Man? That's the dream, honestly.
Exactly. So you guys have been creating content for some time now, and the landscape, like I said, has changed quite a bit in Halo 5. Halo 5 has been around for 3 years, over 3 years at this point. And before we get into HCS Atlanta and the Grassroots program, how do you guys feel about content creation now with Halo 5? Let's start with Reclaimer.
Yeah, you go, Clay.
So
this is a tough question.
Yeah, man. Especially because me and Cole in particular sort of center our focus around the competitive side of Halo 5,
right.
And focusing on ranked playlists and arena and sort of tips for that, but also like being competitors ourselves. So it was a little bit difficult going into it, and we didn't really know where we stood as far as what's everything going to be like after this event, and is it just going to completely fall off, or is there nothing else going to be announced, or whatever the case may be. But
right.
I sort of found I can't speak for Cole here, but I sort of found my little niche of like, I can do these kinds of videos, and I really, really enjoy doing these kinds of videos, and I still really enjoy playing Halo 5. And so I have the ability, I don't know if any other people are this way, but I have the ability to just keep making content because I like doing it. But and especially now after everything that was announced and all the hype around the new stuff going on at the event, I'm definitely feeling super encouraged and really, really excited for the things to come. So I think it's a pretty good spot for me anyway.
Yeah, ends off pretty optimistic, and we'll talk about the Grassroots program as well. I know for you, you started out amazing with this generation with Halo, with your content, but things have been kind of more difficult recently. What do you think about creating content now?
Well, so, okay. I love Halo 5. I love the game. I think some things were handled not the best, and I think the game at its core is fun. I think with a little bit of more tuned settings, I mean, if competitive launched like it is now when the game came out, I mean, I think we'd be looking at a very different situation.
Completely agree. Yeah.
That's beside the point. It got hard because I was able to start creating content full time, and I was able to do that for a couple of things. I had a lot of support from my viewers and things like that, but also my cost of living is too high because I have 2 roommates and things like that. It's not like I was making a lot of money, but I was making enough, and that was of course my dream. But being that Halo 5 is so, there's only, as it is right now with Halo, you can only go so far because the fan base is only so big, and I had to look at myself as a creator to question, like, of course that's what I want to do, that's what people know me for, that's what's worked, and I love the game, but also I had to ask myself, like, can I, is this going to work long term? Like, so I was starting to branch out, like I branched out to PUBG, and I actually found some success there. Because I was trying to look out for myself to, for the future. Because if Halo really does just fall off, then like, what happens? It's like, are we all, like, I don't want that to happen. Like, I think it's always funny when people say that, like, you don't care about Halo or anything like that. And it's like, dude, if Halo blew up, I would benefit from it so much. Like, what do you mean? Of course I want it to do well, like, I don't know. I just think that's so backwards. But anyways, so
you've got a livelihood
going through Halo's, yeah, of course. And Halo's just gotten, Halo 5 is 3 years old. We've had the last major competition for it. Naturally, it's going to get stale. I don't think it's because the game's bad. I think it's just because there's been time. We made so many videos on it. And that's not to say there can't be more videos made, but it was looking kind of abysmal, I would say, but after this Grassroots campaign, and I'm looking forward to it. I think giving us something to look forward to. We know Infinite's coming out. We don't know when, but we know it's coming out. And we know that 343 has shown interest in investing in their content creators and investing in the community to try to make the best experience possible for everybody. That to me is very encouraging, and that excites me for what's the future of Halo.
Definitely, yeah, and that's something
I tried not to talk too much about the Grassroots thing. Sorry,
yeah,
because I knew you were going to ask.
Well, no.
So I'm waiting.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's fine. We'll talk about it too. But But no, I can imagine in your position, and it's tough for sure. Like it's kind of hard. I'm trying to think. Like I'm racking my brain even as you're talking. Is like what's a new creative thing that we can do as far as Halo content goes? And to be honest, I think I'm one of the few who's actually found something that's a little bit different. Is like analyzing gameplay, sure. but beyond that, like what else would you do? You know what I mean? That hasn't already been done. And like we've done our road to videos and you know, like, you know, every type of tip and trick that we think of at this point. So there's a lot that's been covered. It's been around for 3 years, but now HCS Atlanta, right? The final Halo 5 event. So you guys attended, I got to see you there. That was awesome. What did you guys think of the event? Like, where did you stay? What did you think of the venue? Any kind of highlights, experiences you guys had?
We crashed with some friends at an Airbnb pretty close by. And I mean, I missed out on Dreamhack Atlanta last year, which was tragic because I'm so close, but I didn't know what to expect, and it was absolutely unreal. I've been to, I think, 8 Halo events you know, just in Halo 5, and this one was so different because it wasn't just a Halo 5 event. There was so much else going on. It was really cool. You know, Dreamhack, they do it well, man. I don't know. That's the first time I've been to, like I said, but there was just so much to do. You got, you know, intermissions for matches, you could get up and walk around the venue, and there's so many things to look at, so many things to do. It was really cool. I thought it was awesome.
The popularity to Halo was kind of like, I don't know if I want to say surprising, but Halo was popular. Like we had our seats filled pretty much the entirety of the event, right?
Yeah,
like,
and Halo had a big stage compared to some other games. That surprised me. And like, people were sitting there watching. It wasn't like it was just like there was interest, so it was really cool.
Like, oh, you know, this is the last event, so we might as well all come and check it out, right? I don't know. it was popping off a lot of the weekend, so it was nice to see that. Reclaimer, what about you? How was it?
Oh, I loved it, man. It's something that we talk about every single time we go to an event, but there's really no experience like going to an event. I can't talk about other esports, but for Halo events in particular, it's just there's something special about it. So I always enjoy it no matter what. But when you have a good setup and a good stage and a good venue, and you're surrounded by a lot of other cool stuff like we were at Atlanta, it's pretty hard to go wrong. And like we were talking about, it was really good to see all the Halo love that we got to see this weekend. Because like especially whenever we were at some point after Saturday, I think all day Sunday, we could not find seats. We were standing for half the matches because it was standing room only. And so people were like stealing chairs and bringing them over. So it was really encouraging to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's one thing that you can't deny about like what's so exciting about these events is just the hype of like being there, the audience, right? One of the biggest, most exciting things was just having even that Halo 3 2v2 showdown and having Roy and Flamesword come back, make it to grand finals and hit some insane clips. I don't know if you guys saw that live. Let's Tony, let's show that Roy clip one more time. We're going to check it out. Probably one of the most hype moments of the event.
Right into Roy's hands. Roy misses the headshot there, top middle. Flamesword's trying to push in and finish it off. Tusk is in a hard place, and again, Roy, what a finish coming in from him. 17-9 now, in favor. Oh my! Oh! He's off the map, but he doesn't care. Roy is back.
Man falls off the map, stands up. His headset comes out and everything. Were you guys there for that live?
What a savage.
Dude, we were talking, you and like the three of us were having a conversation when that happened.
It was us and Stress, and we were talking while that happened.
Did you see it or like?
I don't remember seeing it with you guys.
I'm pretty sure that's when that happened. No, because I ended up having to watch it on Twitter after. I looked over, and it was just Narrows, and it was Roy, and that's I think we all choked, bro.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude! Because I watched it on Twitter, I was like, "How did I miss this, dude?"
Yeah, that's when it happened. Is when we were all talking.
Yeah.
But I just think that clip's so sick, and like that doesn't happen at Halo 5. Like, I don't know, man. Like you could hitting something like that, you could hit a parallel clip in Halo 5. It's so much harder to do in Halo 3, which just makes it so much more magical. And I just think like hitting clips like that in Halo 3, it's just always I love Halo 5 too, but I mean it's just always gonna be cooler. That's how I feel.
Yeah, there is something like uniquely satisfying about that. Yeah. Reclaimer, what about you? Sorry, I just want to make sure like I don't just have Proximitty's reaction too. So
yeah. Sorry,
but there's something about it, and I really like that Cole used the word magical there, because there's no other word that I can come up with that describes it, because there's just something special about that game that makes it so much more entertaining to watch.
I think it's just simplicity, you know, like, and I love Halo 5 as well, but it's harder on surface level to just recognize something like a sick clip like that. Like, it's just so simple. And you know that guy can do nothing. Like, he's committed to that jump. He's going to land in that snipe. Like, you see him line it up and just fire the shot. And it's so satisfying. But I think one of the biggest things about that clip is something that we see lacking in Halo 5. And this is more on the lines of the community side of things. It's just Roy popping off. Like, who does that? Like, snipe down Nick when they pop off, some of those guys. But like, not many people can pop off like Roy popped off. That guy got up. He fucking like he Hulk flexed and everything. And like, just his headset comes out. Like, that kind of energy that you get from the player themselves, that's infectious. Like, that's what creates passionate fans, right? So on top of the fact that Halo 3 was sick to watch, we need more people like Roy. You know what I mean? Like, that's what brought me back, the pop-offs.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, like you said, simplicity is an interesting point. Like, the three of us who really enjoy the game, especially you doing analysis, you know, somebody like Shotzi is a freak to watch, and you can really be entertained watching him hit these crazy spring jumps just to move half a second faster to some location on the map. We'll see that and interpret that and understand it as a really nice play. Where I think you could show that clip of Roy popping off there to almost anybody that has a basic understanding of how video games work, and they're going to understand that was sick. They're not going to need to know what made that good. They're just going to see it. And I think and a lot of things in Halo 5, the intricacies of clips that make them so good aren't going to be translated and perceived by not like a non-fan. It's hard to rope people into that. I just think that's a hype clip. People see that and go, I want to watch more of that. That's awesome. I love how the crowd reacted. Like, you know, I don't know.
No, it's so true. It's like, it's immediately recognizable. Anybody could see that and be like, holy crap, that was hype. Like, that was so sick. And the combo of him popping off too, just all of it. And that's what brings you back. So I think, like, loving Halo 5 and I love the little intricacies and explaining those to people and bridging that gap. And that's, you know, that's exciting. That's where I make my content. But at the same time, there needs to be some sort of bridge in the next title with Infinite where people can, it's just something in between where people can immediately recognize and get that gratification from those types of experiences. And they don't all have to be explained, but there's still nuances there that are there for the hardcores, you know, that people will appreciate and want to see like a breakdown on. But of course, having the event was just one part of it. There was the announcement as well. And one of the biggest announcements, of course, was the Grassroots program. Let's show the Grassroots program. We're just going to play the trailer.
This is our moment, our time. So I ask you, get loud, get proud. Are you ready?
Halo Esports is only as successful as the foundation it's built upon. Our games, our players, our passionate community. We also recognize that content creators and tournament organizers are vital parts of our foundation. So today, we're introducing HCS Grassroots, a community partnership program to help tournament organizers and content creators continue to do what they love.
Oh my God!
HCS Grassroots will offer prize pools, promotions, giveaways, and more. We aim to build a network of partners that we work with to ensure a strong foundation for the future of Halo Esports. As the Grassroots community grows and evolves, so will HCS Grassroots support and partnership. To kick things off, here's who we've partnered with. UGC Events, January 2019. Gamers for Giving, March 2019.
Oh my God! That was disgusting!
Log in to halo.gg/grassroots to fill out your application. Tell us about what you do, your goals, and how we can support you. Apply now at halo.gg/grassroots.
So there we have it, the Grassroots program. This is something brand new to Halo. What do you guys think of this?
I love it. That's my initial reaction. Yeah. I think it's amazing. I think.
Go for it.
Those clips of Nick and Aaron kill me every time. They're so good. But yeah,
that
I
one
mean,
Action Man
it's
clip is the best, man. I love that Action Man clip.
They're all so funny. It's crazy. I'm jealous of how funny other people are. It's actually annoying. But I mean, it's nothing but good things, man. We as content creators, I think I can speak for everybody, for for when I say this, but to be able to have support from the actual creators of the game is one of the most satisfying and positive things that can come out of what we do, I think. And so the fact that they're starting this to sort of not really renew, but to sort of keep all the viewers and the players and the tournament organizers and everybody interested and talking about and watching Halo is just, it's nothing but good things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's an interesting perspective being on the side of a content creator who, like, I think it's not, I don't know, it's hard to say, like, I don't want to be like, I have an influence on this community, but you can't say that we don't, you know, like the content creators do have a huge influence on the community. And for the developers to recognize that and want to nurture that and help us out, and, you know, we can all work towards a common goal, I think that's incredible. And I'm super excited about it. I think it's a really awesome opportunity, and I'm really excited to see where it's going to go.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is, like, it incentivizes content creation in general. Like, I feel like there are a lot of people who are on the fence about whether or not they want to create videos, but they see something like this, the partner program, and it's like, oh my God, you know, now I feel like I can get into it and there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I think what 343 is trying to do, what I hope they're trying to do, is try to bridge this gap between community and developer, right? Like, I want to get, or at least I feel like Halo needs to have the feeling that the developer is there, that they're working with you, and we're all working together to create the best possible Halo experience that we can. And constantly, I feel like with the recent announcements and initiatives that 343 is making, they're trying to do that. They're trying to close that gap and show us that, you know, the content creators are directly partnered with 343, and that we're all pushing content together. We're all growing this community together. We're all creating the best Halo ever, really. Right. So I think that's so exciting. Are you guys going to apply Proximitty? I want to say I'm surprised you're not already there, but like, I know that, you know, things have been a little like on and off with the content, but does this put you back into it now? Am I going to see more Proximitty Halo content? Because you would get like accepted instantly into this.
Yeah. That's a whole complicated situation. Certainly not what the show's about. So, but I essentially had some personal things going on, and I took a break from content in general. It wasn't specifically Halo.
Right.
But we're back into it, and I want to continue to get back into it. And yeah, I mean, it definitely motivates me to, you know, continue to work on Halo content, seeing that 343's, you know, it definitely appears as though they want to take that seriously. And yeah, I mean, that's enough for me, you know. And I want to quickly agree with that one point you made about there's a light at the end of the tunnel for new creators. I think that's such a good point, because you ask somebody, how do you get, like, how do I get here right now? How do I get on this show? Like, well, there's no, you know, there's so many variables. There's no way to just, you know, how do you become a doctor? Well, you go to school and you know what I mean? Like, there's a way to do that. It's not easy. I'm not saying that, but there's a way to do it. How do you become a content creator? Like, there's no set path. You just have to grind and hope that it works. But I think this creates that there's incentive and there's progression to be made. You can see that, and you could end up becoming part of a 343. And I think that's amazing. So I think having that would probably be a glimpse into the future of where everything's going. Esports is always growing, and we don't know how it's going to look later. But I imagine if this goes well, other communities will likely follow this formula. Who knows, man? Yeah. I'm just excited about all of it. I think it's so cool. Yes, and yes, I've applied. So there's that. Okay, all right, I'm done.
I still have to do that. What about you? Have you applied?
I think, just to touch on what we were talking about in incentivizing other creators, I think it'll also inspire commitment, because I think it's really easy for somebody to say, oh, I want to do YouTube, and so they'll upload 1 or 2 or 3 videos, and then maybe if they don't see instant success, or maybe if they don't like it, or they're just not into it, whatever. But I think when you give them something to work for, it inspires commitment and dedication, and brings more content out through that. But yeah, man, as soon as they announced it, we were sitting in the crowd on Sunday, and I applied right there on my phone. So
damn,
I'm excited, man.
Wasted no time. I did the same. I was sitting right next to him. We both just filled them out real quick. Like,
all right, so I'm the only
it's
slacker.
not a long process.
It's probably not a long process. I feel like I need to sit down and
done, bro.
It's like literally like a 2-second thing. I'm like looking at it right now. It's probably like you just put your name down, and like, I don't know. I thought I had to like take a second with it, but I haven't even like unwound yet. I feel like I've just gotten home and now we're doing this show. But anyway, it's so awesome, and it incentivizes content creation. And then the continuity, like the consistency of content, it gives you something to look forward to at the end of the tunnel. Guys, if you grind hard enough and you get partnered, then you get promotion support, you get giveaway support, you get so many different ways that you can interact with your community and make your community bigger and better. So I think that that's amazing. I think that Halo needs that. And I think that if they carry that into Infinite, imagine, dude, like the sky's the limit with Infinite. I really think that if they hit things right, Infinite's going to blow up. It's going to be massive, especially with its inclusion on PC. So this is a great time to get started. The partner program can kick off your channel now, and then you can grind until Infinite, so you'd have a great foundation to start with. Also, of course, with 343 being a focus as well, do you guys think that Halo 3 content could be something that you would consider doing now that we have this focus? It might kind of refresh the content pool, right? You can do MCC stuff instead. They might have new playlists and ideas there as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely, I love Halo 3. It's probably, it's my favorite Halo. And I have a theory that they're taking this gap. They spent all that time fixing MCC, and they wanted to do a year of Halo 3 tournaments, which is awesome, because Infinite is going to be classic. That's my theory. I have no idea. I don't know any more than anybody else.
I don't know.
Being serious. It's just a theory. It makes sense in my head. So if that's the case, I'm super excited. That way it would help that transition from going just straight to Halo 5 right into a classic Halo. That might turn a lot of people off, but we kind of lean ourselves into it. Could be sick. Just saying.
I think definitely at this point, we're not going to see a Halo that has more advanced movement capability than Halo 5 does. Like, that's one thing that they're not going to do is take it further, right? Because every Halo game has kind of taken it further in some way. And I think at this point, with the inclusion of like Halo 3, their focus, there's no way it's going to go further. So I think we're just going to, we could end up somewhere in between. What do you think, Reclaimer?
I'm not sure what the future looks like in terms of movement. I've heard rumors, like I've obviously heard the theory that we're going back to classic, and that would make sense. But I've also heard that they're sticking with the advanced movement. So I'm honestly not sure. If I'm being completely honest, I don't care either. As long as the game's solid, I'll play it. But I'm super excited that Halo 3 has a little bit more of a focus on it now, because I'm somebody who's not naturally tempted video games, and whenever it's into for something, like I also getting better at Halo.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Tony, I see it. Okay, Reclaimer, your connection's a little spotty right now. We're going to hold on to you for a second. Hopefully it stays like reasonable. I can see you're kind of freezing and stuff. I'm not sure, Tony, if there's something you could like come in and come out. Otherwise, I could just kind of continue with my train of thought. Nah, just let it go. Tony said let it go. Reclaimer, if you freeze, if you disappear, I'm sorry, buddy. We'll cross that hurdle when we get there. But one of the biggest things that you did actually say was he looks frozen.
That face, dude. On, what a dude. Oh, he's back. Okay. This dude funny, man. Oh, jeez.
And Conley's getting ready too. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up soon. Yeah, one of the biggest things you said, Clay, actually was the fact that you don't care, right? It could be advanced, it could not be advanced, you don't care. I think that's the thing that the Halo community needs to kind of wrap their heads around, is like everybody's kind of talking about how it's Halo 3 time and Halo 5 is dead. I don't really think of it as like Halo 5 is dead, now it's Halo 3. I don't think there should be like one Halo that we're specifically focused on. I think the community needs to kind of get into the mindset that all of these Halos have great things that deserve recognition, and you got to kind of be more open to learning and adapting. And as long as the developers listening, we're creating the best Halo possible. Like, I know Halo 5 started out kind of weird. Now it's awesome though. You know what I mean? And Halo 3 is also awesome. Like, if we can kind of get into that mindset as a community that both of these games are awesome and be more open to to how Halo is as a game, I think that we could all create something that's pretty awesome here. I think this is more like, this era is the era of Halo as a franchise overall, and just respecting anyone and everybody who loves Halo for whatever reason they love Halo. Halo's a very diverse franchise. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's like we should cannibalize one and accept the other or go one way or the other. We should try to unify as a community and just love Halo for Halo.
I completely agree.
Yeah,
I completely agree. And like, if I'm not saying that it has to be classic for it to be good, that's just my theory. But I mean, I love Halo 5. So, and I think the movement system of Halo 5 is the coolest movement system in a FPS shooter on console that we've ever seen. I love it.
Hell yeah.
I think there's so much you can do with it. So many ways to do so many things. It's so cool, and it's super skill based. Movement is not easy in Halo 5, so I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with anything as long as the game's good. That's what I want.
Yeah. Well, what I'm hoping this year does is it like bridges the communities. Like I hope that Halo 5 kids can go to Halo 3 and recognize that Halo 3 is amazing and recognize that like these are all the skills and the patience that you need to be good at Halo 3. And I hope that at the same time, the Halo 3 players can recognize that Halo 5 is awesome. Like that's going to be my objective on YouTube, is to analyze Halo 3 and make that analysis badass so that the Halo 3 fans come in, they're like, oh my God, this game's amazing. But then make an equally badass Halo 5 analysis so you can appreciate that as well. And then we can kind of, tie things together here. Because I want the Halo 5 guys to recognize Halo 3. I want the Halo 3 guys to recognize 5. I think there's a good harmony here, and we could, have an awesome Halo, whatever it is, whether it's classic, advanced setting, somewhere in between. But we won't know till we find out, right? So yeah, just looking back on Halo 5, just kind of closing things out here. Are there any little things that you would like to see in Halo Infinite that were missing from Halo 5, apart from the mechanics, the abilities?
I think
working
social
theater
on
mode
launch is important. Working theater is important. We need to have everything working on launch. If they're going to take their time, that's fine. But make sure that that's important to me. Like, I think we need to have a good social experience. We need to have Forge. We need to have our theater working. We need to have competitive. We need to have playlist variety. And I am not a fan of the rotational playlist method at all. I think that's so dumb because that creates interest for 2 weeks and then nobody cares once their playlist is gone. Have the good playlist there. Have them stay there. If we have a lot of things to do when the game comes out, people aren't going to get bored. They're not going to pick it up, put it down, and move on. Games do well off launch. A lot of games do because they have hype around them and marketing. That always happens. But to get somebody to stay, you have to have that special thing. And I don't know. I felt like they put all their eggs in the same basket with competitive coming into Halo 5, and they didn't have social. Everything was ranked. It was weird. It was cool with me because I love competitive stuff. But for the people that don't, what do they have? They had Warzone. That's not a regular multiplayer experience. That's a whole different thing, which is cool. But some people want to play Social Slayer. We didn't have that. So I don't want that to be the same. That seems to me like a pretty big mistake, and I don't want that to happen again in Infinite.
Completely agree. What about you, Reclaimer?
I agree 100% with. I mean, this is something that us, especially our group, has had a lot of conversation about. But I would just say all of that and in a working theater mode, because especially for content creators, theater mode is very important. And like when you have a theater mode that looks weird, or maybe it doesn't function entirely correctly, even if the look is off by just a little bit, it can ruin the feeling of a video or a montage or a machinima or whatever it is that you're doing. So I think working theater mode is super important.
Okay.
Yeah, and one more thing, I don't know why every Halo game launches without doubles or snipers. Every Halo game launches with neither of those playlists.
Yeah,
and it's
what is that about?
It's Team Slayer and give everybody snipers. There you go. Take double or take Team Slayer and cut it in half. It's doubles. There you go. Like, you can tweak it along the way, but like it should launch with it. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
it's like those are some of the best playlists. I don't get it.
And that's the thing is, like, it's you and an army who's saying that. There's a massive community of people who love snipers and love doubles. Like my brother, who's hardcore Halo 3, like he was hardcore classic Halo up until Halo 3. He comes on to Halo 5. There's no doubles playlist. Immediately, he has like no reason to play because all he did was grind doubles back in the day. So like, there's so many people who are in that position. I don't know. Like, the biggest thing is have a complete game, right? If they're going to take time, they're going to take you 2 years, 3 years. Hopefully they don't take that long, but just give us what we expect from a Halo title and complete the experience for us and have all the playlists that we're expecting to be there so we can be satisfied with that and happy with what we have. So I think a lot of potential is there. They got to capitalize on that by giving us that complete experience. But in between then, we've got Halo 3, we've got Halo 5. There's a lot to look forward to. Of course, this is a good time, guys, to start your YouTube channels. Proximitty, Reclaimer, you guys are very experienced in this business. Do you have any quick tips or anything you would say to somebody who wants to get into YouTube now, is very passionate about Halo?
Yeah, I do, but I don't want to. Clay, do you want to start? I don't want to talk for too long, so yeah. I could talk about that forever. Like, honestly,
I think
I got a million tips.
I think the important thing is to do I think do something you enjoy. Find what works for you. If you know that you want to do Halo, find whatever you like to do in Halo specifically, and try your best to be consistent. I think consistency is probably the most important thing. And then secondly is make friends, because making friends is the best way to increase opportunity and exposure and to get your name out there. Is word of mouth never fails. It's always a good way to go. So
that's actually great.
Yeah,
Like
totally
find
agree.
where do you specialize and make friends. Always have other people who support you and also inspire you to continue to work hard and create more content and stuff like that as well. So great points. Thank you. What about you, Proximitty?
I think networking is a huge tip. Just like Clay said, that's something I can't speak highly enough about. I met some of my best friends just from doing Halo YouTube. So just be nice to people, man. Don't think of it too much as like, I want to do well and I want others to fail. Try to succeed together. So there's that. And then branding is super important. Brand yourself, not just having a logo, but brand yourself. You want to be somebody that you want people to watch you because you want to have, an audience. And a great way to do that is try to brand yourself. Yeah, logo and everything. Yeah, you do want to be recognizable, but you want to be recognizable as a cool person that people like, not the other way. Yeah. So don't be a dick. That's super important. And make friends. And then I think finding something that you're good at works. If you don't understand the game, don't make analysis videos like Shyway does. You're gonna make a fool of yourself, and people aren't gonna want to watch you. So, and I'm not trying to discourage people like, oh, you have to be amazing to make content. That's not the case. But like, know your strengths, play to those, and make stuff that you think other people would want to watch.
Yeah,
that's it. That's what I think. Yeah.
I mean, not that if you don't know the game, you shouldn't make analysis videos, but maybe I guess kind of like restrict that analysis to the things you do know, right? So that everything that you say is,
for sure.
You would never want to be giving people false information. Yeah, that would never be good.
Right. You don't want to see, like, if you see Shyway popping off, you don't be like, well, I'm gonna make those videos now too, because those are popular, right? And then you just come and speak out of your ass because you don't know what's going on, and then you just look like an idiot. You don't want to do that. So
yeah. No, I completely agree. And one thing I find that I do with my videos and something that like I highly recommend that anybody else wants to analyze content should definitely go for it. But it is not easy to do. It is not a one-take gig. I will sit there hours and hours and retake until I have something that I think is perfect. Even if I know everything, if I stutter for a second, like it's over, I'll restart it, right? So I'm a tough critic, and I think you need to be a tough critic on yourself and your content and really try to think about how you can bring the most value to your audience. What is value? Identify what that value is and try to, figure out how you can apply that to your audience in the best possible way. Imagine you're the viewer. What would you want to watch, right? What would be the best content you would want to watch? And who are you? What's the plan?
So true.
Yeah.
Very
right.
true.
So I think all these are great, and I think now is the best time to try. But until then, we're gonna move onwards with Halo, with content creation. Hopefully things are amazing. Honestly, I'm so inspired by HCS Atlanta, and I hope you guys are inspired too. I hope to see a lot more of you guys over the next year into Halo Infinite. And thank you guys so much for joining me on the show today. Do you have any shout outs? Where can we follow you on YouTube, Twitter? You can shout them out.
I want to say thank you for having me. First off, this is an awesome experience, and I appreciate you having us on here. But I guess my links, you see the app Proximitty CE right here. Am I doing it? Oh, too far. Okay, there we go. That's for my Twitter, so you can check that out. All the other links can be found there, but if not, Proximitty with 2 T's on YouTube or Twitch. You can find me there. So come check me out if you want. Much love.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at ReclaimerCR. On YouTube is just Reclaimer, and then Twitch is Recliximer. It's Reclaimer with an X instead of an A. Streaming and uploading every day.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining me on the show, and hope to see you guys around. Maybe we'll try some streaming together sometime or something. I'll find a way to like slide. Sounds good, guys.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right. So Tony, I got your message on Discord, and do you want me to announce? Did you want me to announce something or no? Yes. Team passes. I have an update, guys. We have sold out team passes for Halo Classic. By the way, guys, this is a good time to talk about Halo Classic. Tony, throw up the graphic. 4v4 event coming up in January 11th to 13th. This is a Halo 3 dedicated event. We're going back to the classics. It's $35,000 grand prize. That's an insane prize pool to work with just to start out our year of classic Halo tournaments. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are huge fans of that. It's a 4v4 event and it's sold out already. So is that it? Can they not continue to sign up? There's got to be more passes. I'm pretty sure with demand like this, they're gonna make it bigger. Don't quote me, but they better, right? Because this is a pretty insane following so far. It's so nice to see. Just it doesn't matter what Halo it is. It's just so nice to see a Halo community popping off in some way. So awesome to look forward to. Hopefully they extend that. You guys could be a part of it as well. But so far, team passes are sold out. Snooze, you lose. It's going to be an amazing event, and hopefully there's a lot more. But let's continue this interview going forward, or this show going forward, because HCS Atlanta also had an amazing Halo 5 tournament, and there was one team that was a bit of a sleeper success. They formed recently, and they landed in top 6, the Anaheim Pirates. I'd love to bring Commonly on the show. We'll talk a little bit about that. Welcome, Commonly. How's it going, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks for being here. Are you settled in? When did you come in from your plane flight? Did you come in yesterday?
Yeah, I got in yesterday, around yesterday afternoon. Just been trying to rejuvenate from the weekend. But it's been a little stressful because I have finals coming up soon and I missed a few classes, so just been trying to catch up on all the work.
Jeez, that's got to be rough, man. That's the thing is, like, if you're competing at like the top of your game, but you also have school, like, how do you manage both of those things? I can imagine people who want to be the best. Like, I know when I wanted to compete in Halo, I wanted to drop everything, like just do that. But you need to support the other areas of your life and have that plan B. So I can only imagine that's brutal, man.
I think it works out for me because I actually did take a couple semesters off like a year or two ago, and I just don't think it was the move because like when when a scrim goes bad or like you're just having like a bad Halo day, like you would have something to fall back on. Like now, like if I have a bad scrim or I just don't want to think about Halo, I can just focus on school because there's always something to do. So it is hard. It requires like a lot of good time management, but I think it's very rewarding at the same time.
Yeah, well, I mean, speaking of rewarding, you got a top 6 placement at HCS Atlanta, man. Congratulations. I mean, that might have not have been what you wanted to get, but as far as like what I expected of Anaheim Pirates, what everybody expected of Anaheim Pirates, I'd say you like overachieved past those expectations. You guys were amazing roster, and you've been in competitive Halo for a while now as well, right? Like, so this was an awesome achievement, but you blew up in the scene to like even when you started in the scene. But let's go all the way back first. How did you get into Halo? How did you get into competing? Because I think your first competition was Halo Reach. So tell me about how you got into Halo.
So I got into Halo. My cousins, they actually had Halo 2, and when I would go over, I would always see them playing. And I would always try to play, but I wouldn't really get the controller because my older brother was next in line, I guess. But just always watching them play would always I would want to play. And then eventually, my brother and we got our own Xbox. This was when Halo 2 was ending. So it was a few months before Halo 3 came out. And from there, I just started grinding like crazy. And I wasn't even grinding to get better. Or I was 9 when H3 came out.
Yeah.
I was in 5th grade. And back then you don't grind to get better. You just grind because the game is just that fun, and then you get better because you're grinding.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, you were grinding it. You started to improve, and then at what point did things start to get like a little competitive, and then you started to think about competing?
I knew it in Halo 3 that I wanted to compete. I just didn't have the means or like the funds. I was like 12 years old, but watching Snipedown was my favorite pro, and
Nice.
watching them compete on straight, it was just like it was a dream of mine to be on main stage one day. And I think in Halo Reach, I knew for sure I wanted to go to an event, and it took a few months of me begging my parents to like let me go to an event. And finally, like the last Reach event, Columbus 2012, was when my dad finally bit, and he was like, "All right, shut up. I'll get you a plane ticket and you can go." So just from there, we got top 48 that event, which isn't bad, but it's not. I mean, it's not good. So
Yeah.
I knew from there, like I just wanted to get better and be at the top.
And then, so there was a bit of a hiatus between Reach and Halo 5. Did you not compete in Halo 4? Did you play much of it?
I actually played all of Halo 4. I just didn't get a chance to go to an event. I
Mm.
was I had a team for AGL 9 Atlanta. It was me, Rob the Turtle, Stress, and Exemplify, but you know, something happened with Stress's ride and he couldn't end up going, and then Exemplify didn't end up going either. And then, you know, I was like 15, 16 at the time, and I was like having major anxiety because half my team just, you know, they weren't going anymore. So I decided, you know what, I'm just not gonna go either. And you know, that's probably one of the biggest mistakes of, I guess, my career, because I was actually really good at H4 and a lot of people would have
Yeah.
saw how good I was. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, back in H4, but that doesn't even really matter, man, because you had probably one of the most explosive like entries into the Halo 5 scene when you're competing in Halo 5. And this was shortly after you started competing in Halo 5. There was a bit of a drama going on at the time. So EG, Lethal had just left EG and he went to join CLG, which was like their main rival at the point. And there was a whole controversy surrounding this. EG needed an extra player for X Games, and they grabbed you last second and you popped off. You guys won the X Games gold medal. And this was like your introduction. I'd say that, like, this was my introduction to seeing you as a competitive player. So just tell me, like, what was that experience like? And what was it like winning that X Games gold medal? How did it happen too? How did you get into EG?
All right. So I was on Renegades at the time, leftovers, and after a night of scrims, I just randomly get a Skype message from Snipe Down, and he just said, we need one, you know, he said EG needs one and we're really interested in you. And I just like stared at the message for 5 minutes, like not knowing just not knowing like what was going on. I was just so like confused, like excited. And you know, I told my teammates that I got this offer, and you know, of course, they tried to convince me to stay. And initially, I told EG that I appreciate their offer, but I'm gonna stick. But then, you know, they were pretty adamant on trying to get me. So
Wow.
like 30 minutes later, you know, I ended up being convinced, and I told my team like, listen, this this seems like an opportunity I just can't pass up. And you know, I asked some people, just some friends, on what they thought I should do, and you know, a lot of them were just like, you know, it's kind of a no-brainer. You should, you know, take that EG offer. And you know, from there we had like a week until X Games, so it was a lot of practice, grinding, and you know, those players are players I've looked up to, you know, pretty much ever since I got into Halo. And it was a little it was a little uncomfortable almost just playing
Mhm.
with them, because you know, it's like meeting your idols and then like having to practice with them. It's just it's hard to explain, but
Nerve-wracking. How do you play at your
it's nerve
best? I feel
wracking.
like it'd be tough to play at your best, to like you'd be afraid to like communicate too much because you wouldn't want to say something wrong. Like you'd want to let them dominate, you know, the conversations and things that you're kind of
Right.
just following, you know, like it's like, I'm this new player. I'm gonna try to absorb information or something, right?
Exactly, exactly. And I think that's somewhere where I guess I did wrong in terms of how I communicated, because because I feel like I had a really good understanding of Halo 5 at the time, where I could have taught them a lot of things. And of course,
Damn.
they taught me a lot of things, like in terms of like Halo basics, I guess, like staying alive. Like, you know, that's pretty much like the most important thing, I think, is just knowing when to
Communication,
stay alive.
dude.
Exactly. You know, I was definitely a lot more quieter. I didn't express my opinions as good as I should have. But
Mhm.
for X Games, it didn't really matter because we ended up winning. And that experience, I'll never forget it, because you know, we went to game 7, and when the victory screen popped up, it felt like someone punched me in the stomach. Like my breath was just I had no breath. Like it was just so much to take in, and that's a feeling that I would definitely like to experience again, and I've been trying to get to that ever since.
Oh, damn. Now it's starting to sound like it's like the first high or something. You're like, you just, just want to get that back. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
yeah,
guess.
it's a hell of a way to break into things. And I think, you know, despite the fact that I'm assuming it's been pretty tough to hit that same level of a victory. I think that was probably one of your highest points. But I would say that you've learned so much from the experience, because if you go back and like look at where you've been as far as a competitive player, like since EG, you've been on so many just high tier organizations. You were on Team Liquid, on Renegades, on Cloud9, on Straight Rippin. Cloud9 existed for how long? Like a week? Like what happened to Cloud9? How did that even happen?
So season 1 finals, our contracts with Renegades ran out, and they were having like some internal issues with their League of Legends team and whatnot. So we didn't think it was the best decision to, sign another long-term contract with them. And we know Cloud9 was interested in getting back into Halo, even if it was just for one event. So, we were in talks with them, and we didn't even sign a contract with them. We just, it was just an agreement. We'll play under them, and they'll just give us jerseys. And I think they were like the best org I've been on in terms of how fast they got everything out, because like the day we got like onto the team, one of their managers like sent me a form, and he's like, "This is our shop. Just select anything you want from our store and we'll get it out to you." In like 3 days, I had like a whole bunch of Cloud9 merch. It was awesome.
That's so sick. And then, so did the
Yeah.
team like last for a while? Like what? So it like you competed for like one event with them, I guess, and then Cloud9 just kind of dropped out of Halo, or
Right. So season 1 finals was, it was invitation only for the top 4 teams.
right?
And I mean, I get it was a one and done because it was me, Victory X, Ninja, and Penguin. And after that event, we ended up splitting up. We ended up splitting with Ninja and Victory. So, um,
Mhm.
because we joined Liquid, me and Penguin, so I don't think Cloud9 really had a chance to like find another team, I guess, that they were
Right.
comfortable with, especially since the next event was also invitational only. So I don't think they wanted to commit resources to a team that wasn't for sure top 4.
Yeah. So you're one of the lucky few who got to be on Cloud9, and then straight
Mhm.
ripping Team Allegiance as well. And then like fast forward all the way to the World Championship, you're on Wise Gaming. And then
Mhm.
now recently you switch over to this team called Anaheim Pirates. You're with Straight Sick, you're with Druck, Soul Snipe, and Callus as your coach. How did that happen? How did you get on Anaheim Pirates?
So Anaheim Pirates is a PBL team, which is,
Right.
separate from HCS.
Mhm.
But how the team of me, Straight Sick, Druck, and Soul Snipe formed, it's kind of random. It's almost lucky in a sense because, before that, my team was me, Straight Sick, Jazero, and Dastroid. But,
Yeah.
we were not doing like really well online. We were, getting destroyed in these cups. And I was
Mhm.
thinking of like just retiring and just playing H3, the twos tournament.
Retiring.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't, I just wasn't feeling it. So
Great.
I told them, I'm like, guys, I don't really know if I want to play. And then from
Yeah.
there, Dastroid said, oh, he couldn't get work off, so he ended up, I guess leaving or whatever. And then
Mhm.
it was just me and Corey. And just like a few days later, I get a DM from Drug saying, "Yo, we should try and make something happen." And then, I was just thinking, this is the last H5 event. I really want to go out, because I got top 16 last event, and that
Yeah.
was not where that is not how I wanted to leave H5. Because
Yeah.
I really think that I'm a top caliber player, and my recent placings did not reflect, how good I was. So I just
Right.
said, okay, I'm down, but we all need to be grinding. And I think we did try to put in as much work as possible. Of course, you can always put in more work, but for the time we had and just yeah, for the time we had, I think we did a decent job, and I'm glad that we got to show how good we were at the event.
Definitely. At what point did you guys all completely form? Like how close to the event was that?
That was probably it couldn't have been like more than a month. It was probably like around a month.
Yeah.
So a
Yeah.
solid 4 weeks of practice, tournaments and cups and whatnot.
Had to put it all together really quickly. I mean, you guys had an amazing showing. Like just going through, you lost a close series game 5 to Reciprocity, who was a grand finalist. Like the fact that you got to game 5 was pretty insane. You lost, I think you're sent to losers bracket by Mentality. And then you did an unreal losers bracket run where you came back and you beat Mentality, sent them out. You also beat Lux Gaming, which is Nated's team, which is full of amazing
Right.
players as well. You outplaced Elevate, who was projected to place higher than you guys for sure. Like Elevate had a little bit of an upsetting performance, but you outplaced them. And then you lost to one of the most dominant teams in Halo, to Splice, right? So like if you could lose from any team in Halo, like Splice is probably one of the better teams to have to lose to, because these guys are like, they've been #1. They're an insane team to have to face against. And then you land in a top six finish. So just how did you get to this point? Like, tell me a little bit about that grind. Was there anything specific about the way that you guys practiced together? Did you have a set like routine? Was there something different that you did with this group that you didn't do with previous like teams? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to give a shout out to Callus, our coach slash analyst for the event. I think
Nice.
um I think we utilized him to the best we could have because he actually does
Yeah.
know a lot, like a lot about how Halo 5 works, and
Awesome
he
to
did
see.
help us a lot with the we tried getting in film sessions, you know, a few times a week, and I think that helped a lot. But to be completely honest with you, we were really bad like online. Like our team was just not like we were not good. I don't know
Wow.
I don't know what it was, but we just weren't good. But
Yeah.
we had spurts of like greatness. Like I knew I knew like we had it in us. We just had to get to the point where it was consistent. But online it just wasn't there. At the
Mhm.
tournament, it was there. And I think that's the main factor, just being next to each other, not having Xbox Live because we can't even use Discord with scrims. Druck and Soul Snipe can't use Discord. So we had to use Xbox Live Party Chat, and there's like a 2-3 second delay on that, and it's like
Yeah.
it's not even like fair. Not even like
Yeah.
fair. So
That's crazy that it all came together in LAN though. Like you're saying, you're a bad online team, and then you just decide to play on LAN, and it's like you're top six. Like,
yeah.
and that's interesting too about the film analysis with Callus. I've tried a film analysis like session with Callus before. They're very informative, by the way, guys. But one thing I'll say about them is these are long sessions. Like you gotta, it's really hard as a Halo player to stop playing the game and to look at it from that perspective and to try to take in different strategies and actually have a discussion about it. So so I can imagine that was like a whole different undertaking for you guys to try to like actually sit down and like look at your gameplays and then challenge your own perspectives and be like, oh, did I make a wrong play here? Did our team make a wrong play? Like, was that some of the discussions you guys would have?
Definitely. And as someone that's been playing at a high level, it was interesting to see our having a different perspective because Cal's
Yeah,
did bring a new perspective in, and combining our knowledge, like we came up with new solutions that like both of us didn't even think of until we just bounced ideas off each other. So
right.
it was definitely really helpful, and I I think without Cal's we probably wouldn't have gotten top six.
Yeah, that I mean, like all of you guys, obviously individually, like your skill is insane too, and that came to form in the tournament as well. But yeah, it's really interesting when you think about it, because the coach actually can be such an important X factor for the team. Of course, you have like Hoaxer on Renegades, and you have Ogre 2 on Reciprocity, you have
Mhm.
Royal 1 on Talks. So like all of these guys, I'm sure were really instrumental in getting these teams to where they are today. So it's important. It's not just a 4-man team. It's a 5-man squad, right? There's a fifth member who's coaching, who's keeping track of times on things, who's making sure everybody has the right mindset. They're working together, so it ends up coming out clutch. You guys did an amazing job. But let's find out a little bit more about how you play. Can I take a look at your controller? This is the controller moment on
Yes.
the stream here. I want to see how you play, what kind of controller you play on, what's your setup like, how you hold it. So what controller is that? It's a
All right.
regular.
So
Yeah.
this is the first event that I ditched Scuff and started using a regular Xbox controller. But
No,
what I had to,
seriously.
but I what, yeah. But since I have to use a paddle for my thrust, I bought this thing called the Strike Pack, which is pretty much it
What?
comes with like 2 paddles. So
Uh-huh.
I don't use this paddle right here. So I actually just broke it off. Like I just twisted it off. So I only
Oh,
use this
seriously?
paddle. Yeah. So I
Okay, so
hold
those
my
strike
controller
back,
like this. Yeah,
so
the
those are
Strike
like
Pack.
$25 or something. You can buy them at like a GameStop.
Mm-hmm.
That's where
Yeah,
you
I
buy
bought
them.
mine
Yeah.
at GameStop.
If you
It
have a
was
regular
I think
controller and you're okay with just like adding 2 extra buttons, you could buy a strike pack like that. I mean, those paddles are weak. Like you said, you just twisted it off. It's easy to break it. Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's necessarily easy, but I mean, you could break it if you wanted to, like you purposely break it.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then how's the response on it? Does it feel like there's a latency when you press it? Like you get an instant thrust or?
I mean, it feels like a paddle. I
Yeah.
didn't notice like any difference between this paddle and a scuff paddle, and the reason
Interesting.
the reason I like these strike pack paddles better than like let's say an elite controller is because these paddles it actually takes a bit of pressure to like click it in just like the scuff controller. And the
Mm.
Xbox Elite like the Xbox Elite paddles, they're so sensitive. Like you would just be holding a controller and like you just press it on accident, and that's just not good.
Yeah.
So I definitely think
Absolutely.
if, especially since scuffs have a history, like Xbox One scuffs have a history of just breaking, um, definitely think just getting a regular controller and a strike pack is the move if you're trying to use a paddle.
Yeah, the only issue with that is that there's only 2 paddles. Like I'm a guy who plays on all
Right.
4. So for some people who want to do that, and it's a little difficult. I know it's like seems over the top, but hey, it works. But yeah, so you're using the two, and guys, like if you want a cheap solution to try to add some paddles to your controller, maybe you still have to claw from some of the other buttons or whatever. But like this is a great option, and commonly, commonly you're using it, and you're an amazing player, so that's proof right there. What else? Like, so do you claw at all? Like, how do you? What's your control scheme and stuff?
So I play on bumper jumper. So
Nice.
my thrust is on X. But so before my paddle, I kind of did have to claw. I had to like half claw. But now I don't really have to claw. I sometimes claw to like reload or switch weapons, but I heard the term lazy claw the other day. I forgot who said it. So I guess I have I do like a really lazy claw where I'm not clawing for the most part, but sometimes I could just just claw and click the button I need, but for the most part I hold my controller like standard, with my paddle in the back.
And then your index finger is hitting the bumper and the right trigger. So you're using it to claw and you're using it to shoot, right? So you're not using your middle finger. Yeah, that's the lazy claw, right? Because then the true claw would be like you're using your middle finger to pull the trigger, and then your index finger will sit on top. Yeah. So some players will do that too. If you're fast, man, if you got fast index fingers, I mean, go for that as well. But yeah. Thanks for showing me that. I'm always curious to see how people play, and also just to show off the strike pack is like people don't know that it exists, right? So that's a great option for people who are looking for like a more, if you're more price conscious, you want something a little better in that category. And Tony, we're not done yet. Tony, how much more time do I got? Because we could do is 15 to 20 minutes or so. 15 minutes, probably 15 minutes. Let me know. I'm going to keep tabs. Okay. So, of course, HCS Atlanta was the last Halo 5 event. Looking back in your time competing, what do you think? Like, are you satisfied? Like, now that you've come into sixth place, or like, where do you think you stand now as a competitor with Halo 5? Looking back on things, and what do you think of the game as well?
I'm definitely not satisfied with top 6 because I feel like I'm a better player than that. But considering my last placing was top 16, I don't really have much to say about that. But I guess my biggest regret in Halo 5 was just not taking it as seriously as I could have, somewhere in the middle, like 2017, just because, I didn't realize how good I had it until, I didn't have it anymore. So
True.
For anyone that, gets to the top really quickly, realize that anyone can get there. It's just hard to stay there. And you really have to keep putting in the same amount of work, same amount of practice that you did to get to that position. And, if I was to tell anyone that, like any advice, that's the advice I would give. And that's the advice I'm giving myself now. And, that's why I wish there was more Halo 5 events, because I truly believe that if there was more, I could get back into the top 4 and even the top 2.
That's actually a great point about more events. But yeah, like, just because you get like, I don't know if I want to say like a bit of a lucky break, right? Like you managed to be in the spotlight pretty quickly there, but you can't get complacent, right? Like you have to take advantage of that opportunity, continue to work hard, guys. So of course it's a grind to get there, but if you do find yourself there, do not stop grinding. You got to keep working hard to maintain, to play at your best. And yeah, you don't want to take that stuff for granted. So, I mean, you're talking about, wanting to compete more in Halo 5. So is Halo 5 over for you? It might not be truly over, because I know a lot of people saying, oh, it's the last HCS event, there's going to be no more Halo 5. But PBL, which is the Pro Battle League, are they still doing Halo 5 events? Because it seems like they still have a bit of a focus on competitive Halo 5. If you could tell me, tell me a little bit about PBL and whether or not you plan on competing with them in the future, if there's any more events.
Right. So Halo 5, it's not over for me yet, considering there is PBL, and PBL is Pro Battle League. It's pretty much regional based teams, like kind of like the NBA, except certain regions, like you can only get players from like that region. Like I'm on Anaheim Pirates, obviously, and my players are only from California. So that's what PBL is, and we compete against other regions. So like 2 weeks ago, I think we played Philadelphia's team, which had Super CC on it, and we beat them in a Game 7. So now we're in the semifinals of their tournament, and I'm not completely sure if the semifinals or the finals actually will be on LAN, but I have been hearing stuff that will be getting flown out to somewhere to be playing that, which will be really sick. And I know if they're also planning on having a season 2 with the pro restriction being taken off, because since there's no more HCS, there's no more like
Yeah.
pros. So
Yeah.
I think anyone that still likes Halo 5, like, because I mean, I like Halo 5. I'm not gonna sit here and say I don't like Halo 5. I definitely have like my issues with it, but I like
Right.
Halo 5 and I'm good at it. So it would only make sense for me to keep, trying to compete in a game that I like. And since PBL is having another season after the finals, which is gonna be in a few weeks, I encourage anyone that wants to like join a team to, start looking and, you know, just to try to get there.
Yeah, no, I like that, right? Because like a lot of people are focused on this mindset that Halo 5 is over and that now it's time for Halo 3. And like I love Halo 3 as well, and I want Halo 3 to have a thriving esports community. But really, I feel like this next year, the next 2 years, whatever it is kind of a new era for an appreciation for Halo overall, right? Like if you love Halo 5, you want to compete in Halo 5, doesn't mean you have to stop now that the final HCS event is over. There still is Pro Battle League. They have their online tournaments, they have their region representation. And like you said, there's finals coming up. There's plans for a season 2 with pro restrictions off. I've even heard rumors like, what if they try to change things, like remove the radar or something and try to make it even more competitive and mess around with some of the settings that they couldn't change last minute in the HCS side of things. So there are still options if you're somebody who's a fan of Halo 5 and want to continue to grind in Halo 5. And then there's also options if you want to grind in Halo 3 as well. We got our big 4v4 UGC event coming up, of course. Do you think that you're going to, jump between both the titles? Do you see yourself playing any Halo 3, or are you going to strictly stick to Pro Battle League?
I definitely see myself playing Halo 3. It's the game I pretty much grew up on, and I'm planning on going to the 4v4 in January, the UGC tournament. So you will probably see me there. And since that's the case, I probably will be just bouncing around games, and I don't think it will really be a problem for me, just because I love Halo 3. I really like Halo 5. So I definitely like Halo 3 better, but I'll be bouncing around the games.
Yeah, and I think that like they're not so different that you're kind of like losing skill in one by bouncing to the other. I feel like you're learning and improving at both at the same time. You kind of like challenge certain like types of, I guess, ideologies that you had about Halo 5. When you go play Halo 3 and you have more limited tools at your disposal, you have to kind of adopt a different mindset to things. You might learn something from Halo 3 that you can then apply to Halo 5 and back and forth. So that's awesome to see you competing. I don't know if you know, the team passes are sold out right now. So if you haven't already bought a team pass, apparently those are all gone, but hopefully there's an option for more of those in the near future. But I would love to see you there at the UGC 4v4. I'd love to see some Halo 3 for $35,000. It sounds awesome. If you look at like Twitter as well, you've got Snipe Down saying like, should I team with these people? And then like Frosty raising his hand and like all these different people, or like bringing back Straight Rippin'. Like how sick would some of that stuff be? And I'm sure, the internet and Halo fans would love to see that, and it would create a lot of traction.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that would be great to see you there. And then just with your experience, your background competing in Halo, are there any little things you'd like to see in Halo Infinite, like something that you'd like to change moving on to Halo Infinite before we close out here?
Just something little. They definitely need to remove grenade hit markers, because I think that's
Interesting.
one of the reasons why Halo 5 was so like snowbally, and
Yeah.
like Rig Slayer or Rig in general, for like an example. It's like one of the most blatant examples of creating a 2-2 spawn trap, where you just split the enemy team. Two of them like are trying to spawn carbine, and two spawning bunker. And I think like grenade hit markers are just make that spawn trap so much easier to do. Just because if you throw a nade and if you throw a nade, not only do you have hit markers, but you can also like hear like the amount of shields you took off of them. So
yeah,
it's like,
you can hear like a different sound depending on whether or not you pop the shield fully. Yeah. Yeah.
It's really OP, and I think without those grenade hit markers, maybe Halo 5 wouldn't be so snowbally. But it's something small, and I really hope it's something they consider. But of course, the radar comes in, and I think the Halo 5 radar, the way they have it now, where you don't appear on radar if you walk, I think that is definitely the most important like aspect of radar, like making sure you don't appear just walking. Because even though you can like see people on radar if they thrust or sprint, you can also hear them. So I think that just adds like another dimension of skill that maybe they didn't want to, take out just because it would have been too hard or something. But assuming Halo Infinity doesn't have like sprint, which I'm sure it probably will, but I think a no radar game will definitely be like what a lot of it'll definitely be something a lot of people want to see, and hopefully that's the direction they're trying to go in.
Yeah, I mean, Halo 5 definitely is a lot more chaotic, so it is kind of harder to
Mm.
to grasp the flow of gameplay, and the radar helps. But I mean, talking to Snipe Down a couple weeks ago, it is still one of those things. It's like almost like a get out of jail free card type of tool. Like the best players in the world should just have that awareness ingrained in them. They don't need that extra tracker, to be there. So I kind of get that perspective too, and I feel like it just makes things it just creates more of a hardcore perspective about the game, and removing that kind of adds this element of like instincts that I think is really exciting for Halo 2, just knowing the game, knowing your team, where to play and how to play. And the grenade hit markers hit markers is a great one as well, because just like shot hit markers, I think should stay because it gives you the actual visual representation that you hit the shot, right? But with grenades, like that's a lot of information you're getting just tossing it randomly at a spawn, hoping that the guy's there. And if you get it, then he spawned there and you can collapse. So I completely agree there. Just little things that need to change, and hopefully they can apply that stuff in Halo Infinite, make Halo Infinite an awesome game. But we'll end up finding out what they do in the next couple of years. We'll see how long it is until they get there. But thank you so much, man, for joining me. Where can we follow you online, or anybody you want to shout out or anything? Let me know.
You can find me on Twitter. I don't really tweet that much anymore, but once in a while I'll have a funny tweet or just something insightful to say. So, feel free to follow me. If not, no hard feelings. And that's pretty much it. I've been thinking about starting to stream more consistently again. My stream is twitch.tv/commonly. So, maybe give me a follow there so you can see when I go online. But other than that, I'd like to give a shout out to Blackbeard, my owner, the PBL Pirates owner. His name is Patrick. He's like the best owner anyone could ask for. He's given us so much like drive, motivation, and he just took care of us like better than probably like the best team owner I've had. So just a big shout out to him. Shout out to anyone that supported me or my team throughout these last 3 years. You guys, I love you guys. Shout out to my family for supporting me, and also trying to get me in school or keep me in school now that I'm back. Without them, I'd probably just I'd probably be a bum just doing nothing with my life. So shout out to them, and shout out to you for having me on the show. It's been a fun experience.
It's been great having you as well. And guys, actually, like, go to Twitter and look up Blackbeard AP. That guy is doing some crazy things, not just for PBL, but for like the Halo community. Like his tweets are they're hilarious, they're fun to watch, but he brings so much energy, so much hype to the Halo community, and it's great that he's able to help you guys out. You guys did an amazing job at Atlanta, so that's thank you, man. Thank you so much for joining me and for being on the show, and good luck with the rest of your tournaments coming up. Expecting big things from you, man. Have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good night, man.
All right, guys. So, of course, we have the UGC 4v4 coming up for Halo 3. That's going to be a huge event. I'm going to first show you guys a trailer of that event, and then we're going to drop over to an interview with LEGIQN. He's got an announcement to share. Man, the music and that logo is so sick. Like that it lives and breathes classic Halo, bringing back the guitar, especially from back in Halo 2. Like all of that stuff is just so exciting. I love seeing it. And also, let's bring LEGIQN on. He's got a special announcement for us related to this event as well.
How's it going, man? Good. How are you doing? Let me get the frame. I'm in the frame.
Yeah, we didn't even do like a pre like just to make sure like your mic and your video and everything.
The microphone was as big as me physically on the screen as well. So
yeah.
Here here's the strat. Boom, there it is. Now you just see the corner. It looks like a trash can.
Yeah, you got it. Perfect. How's it going, man? Welcome to the show. And what are you announcing today?
Dude, I'm gonna be casting the 4v4 UGC event in January for some Halo 3 action.
Hell yeah. There you go, guys. There's the announcement.
Look at that thick-bodied man, full girthy beard.
I love
all
the beard,
across
man.
the board. I mean, repping E United. Do you have a full matching suit for your respective? Do you have like a UGC branded or HCS Weekly suit that you just wear places?
I absolutely need it. I don't have it yet. Tony, like, what's going on,
Tony,
man? You're slacking.
deliver.
They send me a hoodie and they send me a couple T-shirts, and I wear the hoodie. The hoodie's not bad, but I still want the jacket. You know, the jacket's like probably the highlight of the HCS Weekly merch. And I got a banner. I got a banner that's supposed to come. That's just not here. But despite all that, man, it's awesome to see you as a caster for this event. Of course, you have a massive population on YouTube, man. I'm almost like intimidated. I went and looked you up. I don't know much about who you are, but now I want to know because you got like 700,000 followers on YouTube. So not only is it exciting that you're casting, but you have a serious background just as a content creator. So tell me a bit about like your experience with Halo and your experience with your channel and yeah, how this all came to be.
Yeah, man. I mean, well, I started with Halo essentially. So back when I was probably 8 years old, like every other kid. So I'm 25 now, despite looking 35. I'm 25. So when Halo 1 came out, I was about 7 or 8 years old. And I was like, man, I really want to get this. And my older brother had the PlayStation. So I was like, I want to be different. And I just ended up getting into Halo and met a kid in middle school that was an absolute savage. And he was like, hey, have you heard of MLG? Have you heard of competitive Halo? And from that point on, I went that direction. And then when Halo 4 came out, I was like, nah. And then went and became a content creator and then came back to the community when MCC came out. So it's been a grind. I played Halo 3 also in that time frame too. So, but yeah, a lot of Halo in my life, man. It's been a fun journey. So getting to do something like this with you guys and with UGC, it's just going to be one of those things that 14, 15-year-old me, I'm good friends with Chris Puckett. As a kid, that was like a dream of mine. And getting to cast what he casted when I was that age is just going to be spectacular. So it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, what do you think of this new interest in classic Halo? Like, did you watch some of the highlights from the last event with Roy popping up? Like that was insane.
I was texting Flame during the whole engagement, right? Whenever they were playing Evader and Gun Type, because I was like, come on, man, show these MCC kids that the old heads still got the flair and the fingers. And he was like, I got this. And just to watch that matchup and Fantasy, was it Fantasy that had that insane 360 double snipe in Flag on Narrows? It was nuts. And then Roy, when he falls off the map, was hysterical. So yeah, it was an amazing weekend to see what 2v2 can do. You throw in actual competitive 4v4 settings, especially since you guys just sold out the team passes. It's going to be a crazy month.
Right. I completely agree. I mean, like the esports landscape is so different today as well. Like people are so competitive. It's so intense now. In 4v4, you could see a level of skill that we didn't see back in like 2008, maybe. You never know. So like going back, especially with the experience these guys have from Halo 5, bringing that back into Halo 3, they might have a new mindset, a new approach to things. And we might have a bunch of new young guns too. So this could be insane.
You're going to have a ton of new young guns. And that was one of the things, right? You got the guys that quit, you have the people that went over to maybe into content creation like me. And then, they start to funnel back in. Some of the older guys may think they have it easy because they were pros from back in the day. But the young guns, man, they're coming out hard and heavy. Obviously, some of those people never stop playing. It's like it was 2007 for the last decade. And then some of the newer guys that think that they've got it on these older dudes, they're getting handled as well. So we're going to see like a really huge clash from both of these essential Halo cultures for these classic titles coming in, especially with this 4v4. So it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, absolutely. So exciting, man. So awesome that you're going to be there to experience that blast firsthand. You're going to be casting it, guys. So LEGIQN is the first individual to join us as a caster for this event. Of course, we're going to be announcing a few more casters, a few more awesome announcements as time goes by. Tony, I know there was like a whole list of things that I needed to talk about. Can I still talk about that stuff? Like the series format stuff? You want me to just like read this off?
Yes, you do whatever you want. Shy way.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you want me to? Okay. So I'll read it off in 1 second. But yeah. So then, man, thank you so much for coming on and for giving us that announcement. I'm so excited to I'll be there as well. So I'll be very excited to just meet you.
But dude, honestly, it's going to be so fun. And I just can't wait to see, a grand finals 4v4 Halo 3 with the big prize pool. I mean, it's just going to be one of those nostalgic runs. And what's beautiful about this format that we're talking about here with the returning to these classic titles is you're going to see people that you haven't seen literally in a decade come out of nowhere. I mean, selling out the 32 passes this quickly is insane. And one thing that I was actually talking about when I was talking to you guys in UGC is I told them, I was like, I had a Halo 2 4v4 that got 17 teams locally, like in June. I did no promotion. I've got 300K on Twitter, 700K on YouTube, you know, Instagram, Facebook, all that jazz. Didn't promote it, showed up, 17 teams. At that point, I was like, oh man, there might be people that actually want to show up for this. Halo 3 being the more popular game. Oh man, you're gonna see it. If they raise the cap for team passes with demand, oh man, it's gonna be a show. And St. Louis is always one of the best places to be at, anyways. Trust me, lots of good food. Casey's better for barbecue, okay? So, but St. Louis is chill. So,
man, I'll trust you to let me know because I have no idea. So I'm gonna have to figure it out.
Where are you based out of?
I'm in Toronto, Canada, so it's totally different over here.
Oh man, up there now.
You got better food options. Yeah, it's cold over here, man. It's freezing cold. But yeah, but honestly, yeah, like, there's no reason to not be excited for something like this. And the event, like the passes are selling out so fast, but it's like it's bringing back this community to a game that like everybody started in Halo, right? That's the thing. You said your channel started with Halo. Everybody, of course, it's a Halo show, so everybody I interview started with Halo. But like, go online and look up like Twitch streamer that started with Halo as well. So everybody knows about this franchise. Their love for gaming is ingrained in this franchise. So seeing it come back in a big way like this, you're definitely going to get a lot of great personalities coming together and competing. We're going to have a massive event. Already sold out 32 passes. I have no idea what's going to happen next, but hopefully they extend it and give us something even bigger. But man, thank you so much for being the first caster to be a part of this. I'm sure you're going to join an awesome lineup as we go forward. We'll find out. Yeah, in the next couple weeks. I'm going to sit
on Dave Walsh's lap. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. I don't know if he's going to be there, but I just want him to be because
hopefully he is. We're going to grab him and make him come over.
Try ice cream with a dirty spoon once, and I'm never letting him relive that. So,
all right.
Yep. All right, man. Well, it's been a pleasure. I think this is my outro. So, Alex, nice to meet you. First of all, digitally, I'm sure we'll connect and embrace. When I see you in real life, I'll just say it at LEGIQN. Yeah, you know why it's a Q? Because on old school CRTs it looked like an O. So I really did come from the Halo scene. Appreciate it, man. I hope you absolutely continue to kill it with these HCS weeklies.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing you, meeting you, and hopefully casting with you. We'll find out what happens the next couple of weeks.
Oh, we will drive that casting train to the depot.
Thanks, man. Thanks for coming on.
All right. See you later, bro.
Honestly, guys, it's going to be amazing. All right. UGC 4v4, $35,000 classic Halo. I'm sure a lot of you guys love that. Looking forward to that. I'm going to be looking forward to that as well. But I'm just looking forward to a whole new era in Halo, in content creation, in competitive Halo. It's not just about having one Halo game. It's about loving and appreciating Halo as a franchise. Halo 5 is an awesome freaking game. Halo 3 is an awesome freaking game. I want you guys to both love each other, and I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen. Anyway, I'm tired at this point. We're gonna close out the show. Remember, guys, we got HCS Weekly merch as well. Tony, if you got the graphic, you can throw it up. You can see all the merch right there. Anything that you buy on this page supports not only the show, but also me. And I would highly appreciate that kind of support, guys. It's also pretty awesome merch. Hopefully I get the jacket delivered in the mail at some point, Tony. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for joining me on the show today and looking forward to some more episodes in the coming weeks.